We good? Is this how we live stream? It's been over a week. We're back. Welcome guys to this week's live stream. I am still under the weather. Last week I had to bail on the live stream for sure because I just felt like complete garbage, and I'm still getting over that. So I'm not entirely sure what happened. I had a cold, went from like runny nose, headache, all that types of shit. Now my voice or my throat just sucks right now. So we're gonna make the best of it. But um, thanks for all coming and hanging out. So this week, managed to upload a couple of videos, which is cool. Got a nifty little camera, even though I have a nifty little camera right there. Oh no, it's this one. I think it's showing low battery, so I'm gonna have to address that before it dies. I think midstream. Alrighty, so we're gonna jump into the video, and then I'm gonna take care of that, and then we're gonna take care of some Q&As, and yeah, go from there. So in this video, we knock out the back window on a Jetta. It actually does not go as smooth as they normally go for me. In this video, I don't know what it is. Whenever I hit record, things just happen for whatever reason. But what was cool is I actually catch on camera exactly what went wrong, so I know more for next time. I did a live stream with I think it was a Jetta or Passat. I don't know if I said Passat or Jetta earlier actually, but did a one in a live stream earlier and tore a hole in it too, and I think that was because of a rock. But in this one, you actually get to see. I try and zoom in a little bit. Had some glaring issues with adjustments on this camera, but anyway, so we're gonna get into it. We can see what actually happened. I messed it up myself, but yeah, the deck lid, it gives you about that much space, but it comes up this far from the bottom, so you really need a longer tool to get in there, and this is what I end up using. So bulldozers, we'll talk about that a little bit, so let's just go ahead and jump into it, and here we go. All right, so if you saw my last video on shrinking a back window, that was on an 06 Civic, and obviously they're not always that easy. This one is a VW Jetta, and these aren't the easiest to shrink. They're not that difficult, honestly. Like, they're a pretty intermediate back window, but they have this part right here. This is the deck lid and a third brake that don't give you a lot of room to work with. So they're raised here, so you have a little bit of space to work with, but you don't have a lot of room to actually tuck the film and get a squeegee down there, so you got to use like a specialized tool. Kind of. There's a handful of stuff that work for it. So I prefer these things. These are the automotive bulldozer, just a long paddle squeegee. They get down there pretty well. You just have to go at a bit of an angle. So that's what we're going to be doing today. I'm going to be shrinking this back window, and we're going to be installing it. So let's get started. So here we go. Let's go ahead and layer this on. This is Avery Dennison's 20% NR. Really like this stuff. Been using it for a couple of years now. It was under the Haneda brand, but Avery has since bought them and renamed them to something a little disappointing. So we're gonna line this up. I mean, really, who does that? Who takes a name like Sigma Pro? Oh, excuse me, Sigma, I guess, because you have Sigma Pro and then you have Sigma. At least that's what I think it would have been called. And then you just get rid of it and you call it NR. Everybody calls their film NR. There's nothing exciting about it. When I'm selling a job to a customer and they ask, what type of film do you use? Don't you want it to be cool? I don't know. That's my thinking. I also cut this like a smidge, really short right here. Just wide enough, thank God. So let's go ahead and begin. Like I said, it's more of like an intermediate back window. It's nothing crazy, just like an all-around smooth curve to it. Looks like there's a little bit more to shrink in the middle, but it evens out along the bottom anyways. See, there's definitely more here, but there's not like a lot on the sides. So, I don't know. Never really had much of a problem with the with shrinking the Jetta back windows. It more comes down to the insulation, so that's going to be the primary focus of this one. I don't even know if I'm blocking this or not. Camera, new setup, flexibility galore. Still a fair amount of work without my camera girl. I really want you guys to see this middle here, because the sides laid down really, really quick, but the middle, I got just this nice pocket here. Ooh, shrink it all down. Just let the heat do the work, and then smooth it over. Just like to get real close at the very end and melt it. The final countdown, final stretch. Dope. Shrunked. Now, these are a lot tighter on the sides, so you just have to go real slim. You don't have a lot of tolerance on the inside of the car. So this is exactly what I'm talking about with the inside. You got so much like paneling and shit down here. Your tolerances are not super great on the sides. This panel, it really depends. Some are snug than others, but the film will slide underneath the panel. So if you're a little wide, it's okay. The biggest problem is gonna be this deck lid down here. I like to carry things in on the passenger side. So I'm gonna peel this here so you guys can kind of see what's going on with me. Just wetting down all my edges. I'm not spraying the top, like past that top edge very much, just lightly, and then soak down the rest of it, because I don't want to drag stuff in from the top. And we're gonna toss in the sprayer, get this off the car, and then come over here, and we're gonna pick it up. I'll have to make some different videos of me picking up film, but we're doing the good old-fashioned Frankie Zombie. Frank Zombie? All right, now that I am in the car, hopefully this window is not super hydrophobic. That would suck. So let's figure out how we deal with this lower section, because that's gonna be the most important part of this video. So I have to figure out how to get the film behind the paneling before I get all the way to the bottom. So I'll overlap one side, I'll tuck in one side, and then I'll go back over to the other side, like shift it lightly, mainly the bottom section. I gotta shift in the bottom section if my pattern's a little wide. And then it's a matter of just tucking it down far enough. And all my edges are cut right, so we're just going slowly until I see my top edge here barely overlapping the top of the border, and then I know the bottom is covered. So it's really not that much of a challenge to get it in place if you just take it easy. Take it easy. All right. Now, I want to wipe this off so you guys can see it a little bit better. I would just start squeegeeing it right now. But this isn't about me. This is about you. So let's clear up some of this haze. So you at least can get an idea of where I'm squeegeeing, because I'm going to start in the center and work my way out. This also allows me a chance to make sure all my edges are covered, so everything looks good. It's a hot day today, so hopefully my window is not froze up to the glass. So we're really just starting in the middle and then pushing everything out left and right. And then I'll tackle the bottom last. Get all this stuff out evenly along the top. Let's put the microphone there. Hopefully you guys can still hear me. That's the sound of a Blue Max on a thin back window. Up towards the headliner. And now, let's worry about this bottom. So, I'm pushing everything down as far as I can, but then you hit that deck lid where you get stuck. So that's where the magic of the bulldozer comes in. Now, I'll start with this brake light, and I'll sweep to the side. You usually have to do two hands and go out at an angle. Same thing for the other side. Start in the middle and work out at an angle, and then release my tension from the bulldozer and then pull it back out. And I got those corners. Give one good sweep down and then gently pull a bulldozer out. We probably have to go over a couple spots. It's probably not 100. I'll usually go over the window once, and then I'll go over it one more time. I really don't have to spray much back down because it's all wet and gross because I'm sweaty. Got Mr. Comedian over there. Alright. Again, sweep everything out. Just try and keep everything even. Even sweeps. Don't want to have to go back over the same spot too many times. And then we can check it over. Find out if it looks okay. How does that look? What the fuck is this? Are you kidding me? I think I got something behind that brake light. So let's talk real for a second. This is really fucking annoying when this happens. So behind that third brake light, somehow the bulldozer must have torn into the film, and everything else looked great. Looked it over, thought maybe something was under the film. No, there's a hole there. So I already bunched it up, threw it out, but I had to take a breather. This shit happens all the time when you're tinting. This is how you learn, this is how you move forward. What's really annoying is that I largely don't have an issue with these cars, but when I go to record, shit like this will happen. So just when you're learning, you'll run into all these frustrations and shit like that. And I don't mean to just sound like, oh yeah, just push forward, you'll get better. It's tough. So we're gonna do it again. And we're just gonna breeze through the shrinking and cutting part and get right to the installation again. And hopefully it'll turn out better the second time. So Here we go. I have no problem with redoing a window that I fuck up. Of course, I'm immediately not happy. But, you know, accidents happen. They don't happen that often for me anymore. The most annoying thing for me is when I go to record something. And then I have to take the time to do all that. And then I have to re-film certain sections, and I have to try and pick myself back up. And that's what I hate. Like, that's what's really tough. Super easy to just shut the camera off, say fuck this, and then go about my day. But much more difficult to come back. So, looks like we're back to where we left off before, for sure. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to come back from something like that and record it. Like, I know that it's gonna turn out better from redoing it. Where I saw a little guy right here. Got a little air bubble to press out. And I'm sure I got a couple more little guys that have to be addressed. So, like I said, I don't want this video to be about the fuck up and coming back from frustrations like that. But, you know, we're never 100% sure how these videos are gonna go. And it happens. It's done. Finished it. Fuck this car. I'm done with it. I'm not a super big fan of like Audis, VWs, BMWs, or Mercedes. Audis, VWs. Oh yeah. Sorry, I thought I said BMW twice. But these are super helpful for getting in back of tighter back windows. Also, there's a couple other tools that I'll bring up in the future, but this is my go-to for most back windows. I can't live without them. This is called the Automotive Bulldozer, so if you guys are interested, I'll drop a link in the video description along with anything else that I used. But yeah, super annoying when shit like this happens, especially on camera. But as you can see, looks nice. After all the frustration, customer is gonna be real happy about this. Did 20% Avery Dennison all the way around. All in all, looks pretty good. I was never worried about getting the job done, just worried about trying to get this filmed, get what I needed to across as far as what you need to do for this back window, and then in the end make it a good looking video with a good looking job, and then get the rest of the stuff done. So I got this full Equinox to do next. But other than that, hope you all enjoyed. Links to everything will be in the video description, and as always, I'll see you in the next one. Ooh, man. I love reading the reaction of me pulling the film off. Like that is so hard for me to do out in the field, fuck up like that. Like you got the camera pointed right at it. I swear to God, this stuff always happens when you're recording or whatever. Most of the stuff just like you put on your headphones, you just kind of go through the motions, get the day done, go home. But like when I have to make a video and then you fuck up and get that thing right in the center of the frame, you're just like, God damn it. And then you have to make up for that time. You don't really have to re-record everything, but like, you know, get back through it, pick up your mood, try and present, you know, properly for a video and stuff like that. Good God, it sucks. It's hard enough just doing it on its own, like especially when you're learning. Like that there's so many people that, you know, they'll try it once, shrink a back window, crease it, tear it off, and never touch the stuff ever again. So super frustrating to learn. I've been doing this for about, I think, what, 11 years now. So you just got to roll with it, do the best you can to get past it. And so we're going to go over a couple of questions right now that I saw while the video was going. Let's see. Sammy, one, I'm not trying to cause a divorce here, buddy. But how do you pros shrink computer cut film? The film is cut exactly with no room for error. So plotted patterns. So if you get them computer cut off of a plotter, Yeah, they're gonna leave you a little border, but for shrinking back windows and stuff like that, what you're gonna do is you still have to do what is called weeding the pattern. So that's peeling off all the extra and stuff like that. So you just cut like a full inch around the whole thing, and then leave that extra film on the top and the bottom. You could leave even longer if you want. It's personal preference, but you can shrink that whole thing past that line, and then peel the border and then touch up the edges if you need to. So even though it's already pre-cut, you can still shrink it as long as you leave the rest of the film past the edges. You can even shrink up to the edges with a plotted pattern, but that makes it a little bit trickier. It's something that I used to do with like Lumar back in the day. I actually used to exact cut all my stuff and then shrink it. But Lumar was a very, very forgiving film for shrinking, so that stuff was really easy to use. Uh, Joe asks, has it ever happened twice in a row? Oh yeah. So the biggest pain in the ass about messing up once is you gotta try and get out of your own head. So you instantly get super frustrated, and now you have to repeat a bunch of steps. And now if you have other cars that you need to get taken care of, you just lost all that time, that money for the film. You can't get any of that back. So then you try and speed up, and that can create more mistakes. And I've messed up 3 times in a row easily. Like, I mean, starting out, I messed up countless times in a row. That's a given. But when you really start getting frustrated and you can't get out of your own head, this has happened to me relatively recently too. So installed the back window, messed it up somehow, pulled it off, and then when I was cutting out the next piece of film, like you just throw it on the back window, cut it off, and then you look at your edge, and I'm like this shy on my edges, and so now I have to roll that piece up, try and save it for another back window, and then throw another piece of film on, and then like now you're doubly frustrated. So it's just like it's a never-ending stacking thing until you're like done with the day, and then you can just take a step back, take a breath. Anger management for tinting windows can be pretty difficult, but the more you do it, the more you get those steps down. You just take a step back, try and breathe, and like the more you do it, the less mistakes you have over time. So, but it is a very frustrating learning process for sure. JR88, one time I was turning the car in. Oh, I was turning the car in, and I did a last check, used a Max squeegee and ripped the film. I'm sorry. I've done that too. There's actually been plenty of times where you will like people will nitpick the film to the point of ruining it. I've done it plenty of times too. Like you see that one little spot and you're like, "Oh, I'm just going to go touch that up quick." And then you like overheat the spot and then it starts bubbling up, or you press too hard and create a aggressive smear or something like that. Or any number of things. You'll make a spot look worse than what it did in the first place. And then before you know it, you're redoing it off of a little thing. So knowing when to redo something and just leave it alone, like it's a balancing act. There's so many times that well, not so much more recently, of course, but like I mean, it just happens where you like fuck up a corner or like crease something, and you're just like you take a step back, like the rest of it looks good, and you're like, I bet I can hide that, and then you heat it up, try and press it out, and then before you know it, you've made it look 10 times worse, and you've just wasted 5 or 10 minutes trying to fix what you should have just redone in the first place. And then yeah, before you know it, like yeah, all that time's gone. Then you got to redo it anyways, and then nobody's happy. All right, so those are the questions that I took down. If I missed anything while it was going, apologize. I had to change out the battery in this camera. Um, I took all my stuff down to film that the back window on the Civic shrinking video, and then I haven't streamed in I haven't streamed in over a week. So like just setting all this back up was like, how do I do this again? God damn. Uh, REP, $15 a film. Yep. You lose that money from that film. That sucks. When you use a nicer film, the stakes are higher for making your shit turn out good the first time. That's why I say if you're just beginning, don't invest in a really expensive film to practice, because you're going to be doing that over and over again. You might as well just learn a lot of the basics off of any film, and then go from there. some remove the rear deck since it's an easy removal, 10 minutes or so. Okay, that's good to know. I saw Ken Glass actually mention that too. Um, I actually have not bothered to look into the removal of that particular deck lid. I think the only one that I pull back is the MKZ with a glass sunroof. The bottom edges on that really suck. I put like zero time into ever learning how to remove anything, and I always just try and figure out how to do it with everything as is. So as you can see, it counted against me this time, but I've learned to work with a lot of these cars without having to pull anything. It's just what I like to do because there's so many variables and a lot of the removals and stuff that it like when somebody pulls a car in, I often have like an hour and a half to just get the whole thing done. Like they don't take into account that I've never done it before or I don't know how to do something on it. It's like they treat a lot of places treat every car the same and every job the same unless you're like, hey, no, I need more time on this. Or unless the guy calls in and is like, I got a Maserati, and then in the car, oh, that's an expensive car, even though that car took it just as long as, you know, a regular other coupe by coincidence, but like then you get these oddball Passats and stuff like that that take you longer, and they just like yeah. That's why I've just this is why I tint the way I do. Everything is under time constraints for me, so that's where a lot of these things come from. How is the bulldozer not sticking to the deck? Well, there's soapy water back there too, so you spray it down a little bit. So you got on the bulldozer, you have this nifty little upwards rubber edge. I don't know if is this gonna focus? No. Can we Sony? Can we focus? I don't know. So, anyways, you have this nifty rubber edge here. This is what I really like about this tool. There's a handful of back window tools that are just hard plastic and flat. I actually like this little curved lip. It's a little bit wide, so like you're gonna push it down, and you can try to just push it down from the top, but I like to actually put a little leverage underneath, and then you just keep it at that sweet spot where like there's room for it to squeegee down and sweep out the back window as you saw in the video. Um, but I think what happened, actually, I know what happened. Under that third brake light, because it came up so far, it pressed this plastic part in here when I turned it to the side to really get some pressure, and then something like slid against the film. Brake lights, for the most part, are not that bad, but it just happened to be on this car where it's like so much farther down. But you saw the second time I adjusted what I was doing just a little bit, so I didn't put as much pressure on there, and I still managed to get all the water out. So it's just learning experience too. So I definitely have it in the back of my mind for next time. I was actually happy that it showed specifically when I ripped a hole in the film, because like if I'm going to show you guys ripping off the film, I'd like to show you at least why it messed up. So it was actually kind of cool. How much do you charge for a side window? So usually people come in for just two front doors. So a couple of different shops will charge different pricing because I subcontract or I contract for a couple of different shops. They'll retail it for $100 right now, and that's color stable dyed films, starting at 100, and then it'll go up from there for ceramics, which they're not really selling much ceramic right now because they don't try. But yeah, my cut of that, I'd make 60 for a set of front doors, so somewhere like in there is where I would say you should set your pricing. So only reason that mine is there is because I'm contracted for shops. So, you know, you got to give them a piece of it, and then I have no overhead because of that. They have their bills to pay, and then we just have a really good relationship there. So, did you switch out the squeegee after messing up? No, I actually used all the same stuff. It was really my fault that that one messed up. I just, like I said, I pressed too hard when I tilted the squeegee and pressed against the glass. I actually wasn't sure how that hole was created. I'm a little surprised it was back from this edge in here. because the way that it's like the way that this is cut, most of the pressure is going to be on here. But if you bend this down far enough, you can see that edge right there? That can press against the film. So I know for next time, like I did in the video, I just didn't press as hard and I got it out. I use bulldozers on 99% of back windows out there. I'll use also these little side swipe things. These things are awesome. I was using the Stroke Doctor. I thought that thing was actually pretty cool, but I've used these, and these the rubber the squeegees. They come out just like a little bit farther, and they're a little bit more bendy. Really, really like these things. Tell us the best joke you got. If I think of something, I'll tell you a joke. But I actually just like that makes me just try and think of something, and I have nothing at the top of my head right now. Um, what's the trick for the C5 Corvette doors? C5. I don't know the different Corvettes. C5 Corvette. I did a Stingray, the other day. How far back is the C5? Oh. Oh, this is similar to like those Camaros. There's no real secret to them. You just can cut. I believe they're frameless doors too. Yeah. Yeah, they're frameless. They're those. Yep, I know what these are. So just like the modern Corvettes and stuff like that, I don't cut them all out in one go. I'll cut the flat edge first, and I'll shift the film. No, cut the flat edge, shift the film over, and then cut the rest of the window. That way it's a little bit smaller from those edges, and that's just kind of a balancing act of figuring out how far to shift it over. Plus, you can tuck it down into the seal, and that'll keep it off the top edge a little bit too. But that's the way that I do those. I know on like the older Camaros, that back edge will come like will jet back in. So some of them will like slice down this way and then back this way. That's a little bit trickier, but those Corvettes by and large, that's what I do. How can I tell? Let's see. How can I tell if a tint shop is sketchy or not? Good reputation. Looking to take my car to a shop, but they don't really have any photos. That's actually one of the best ways to find out if they're good or not. You're always taking a chance when a business doesn't have any reviews or any outward presence. Yeah, it might be somebody new, but to know if a shop is reputable or not, look through their reviews. Google Maps is probably one of the most common ones, or check their Facebook page. I want to look for a shop that is very active and social, or at least on some level. So like they take pride in their work by posting photos. They have an outreach to their local community as far as like showing off their work and being proud of what they do, whether that be Instagram is actually a great one too. Instagram, Facebook, or Google Maps reviews is what I would go to first. Some people do Yelp a little bit, but Yelp to me seems like it's just dying off a lot. But look for any type of a social presence, even if they don't have a bunch of reviews. They should be posting their work. Like that's their portfolio. So if you want to attract more customers, you would be sharing that. So look around for shops that are sharing the most stuff and have some good reviews. Like just general reviews is what I would look for. Other than that, it really is a toss up. And with window tint, it's such a skill. You might get a good guy that just doesn't care about doing any of that, and a lot of tinners are just they don't do a whole lot of technology. I guess is the way to sum that up. But in today, 2019, you should be sharing your shit like all the time. It's not hard to just take a picture and post it. So, on the MKZ, the trick is to use the red devil run across the bottom edge to separate it and provide more room. I just like pulling that sucker back. It's like that. I've had some deck lids on those. Like for the MKZs with the glass roof, they put a bunch of hardware back there, and that deck lid will like I've had them come up about this far, and it's all carpet sitting like pressing up against that deck lid or against the glass. So I'll pull the pin. You put basically real quick. You put the seats down. There's push pins. You pop those, and then there's some retainer clips under the pillars, and you wedge those down, and you can shift the whole thing back just a couple of inches and give you all the space that you need. I'm get. Ooh, we don't want to mess with it, Mike. I'm assuming that'd be similar to like the Jetta or some stuff like that. Like if it's really that quick to remove, but I haven't messed around with the Jetta or the Passat. Sorry, I always get those two. Like they're basically the same thing to me. For side fingers, what can I do with those? You should be directing everything to the top or bottom, depending on how you orient the film when you unroll it onto the window. Um, Excuse me. Holy shit. Yeah, see, there's my sore throat. It's really, I have tea. We're hoping to minimize that sore throat. It's great. Long talking session. Perfect. But side fingers, like, you really shouldn't have them. You want to do everything you can to prevent them from happening. So if you're talking about door windows, like specifically, you can have some small stuff pop up on the side, but before you go to install the film, move as much, like you want to direct everything to the bottom, shrink it out, get it to form to the curve of the glass, and then um, and then press it out. And then same thing for the back windows. You need to shrink everything on the top and bottom, make sure that glass is smooth, and then after you've shrunk it and you cut it, take the heat gun and get real close to the bottom edge and make sure it lays flat. And then just as you squeegee it, start from the center and basically like a wave. Start in the middle and work everything out evenly, and you shouldn't have, you might have a couple little things pop up. That's normal. But if you have any real big fingers shooting up, you either didn't shrink it enough or you didn't sweep it out evenly. So one of those two things. What brand of tint do you use? I'm using Avery Dennison right now. Their NR color stable line. I really like that stuff. It looks great. Shrinks really nice. And one bonus thing from it, you can see I'm like, holy shit. We might have to cut things short. What was I going to say? Avery Dennison. Oh, yeah. The glue peels off with the window film, which is super helpful if you ever have to redo anything. So a lot of window films will leave the glue on the glass, like Lumar. You peel that shit off, and it's just a layer of glue. Same thing with Global. You're sitting there with a razor blade and just like shooting yourself in the face. It sucks. Like, I hate removing glue. So Avery Dennison, you just warm it up a little bit, it pulls right off the glass. Super handy. They designed it that way, so that's not just like a freak coincidence. They actually like they'll tell you they have a lot of uh, manufacturing experience with architectural film, and they design their architectural film the same way because architectural film has like a guarantee of like up to 10 years or something, and then the building's eventually going to have to pull it and replace it, so that's why they design it that way. I charge 30 for a window. How about the whole car? If you're charging 30 for a back window, I hope that's not a back window, but that's like material cost right there. Full car, I'm in the like personally, I'm charging the shops 165 bucks for the full car, and then they're charging anywhere from 250 to 280 because they got to make their cut. And you got to realize, like, if I'm doing three, like, okay, I can do like 5 full cars and some extra in a day, but I'm comfortably at 5 cars. So let's say I'm doing 5 cars in a day. They have their overhead that they have to pay. They're not making a whole lot off of me when it comes down to all of the breakdown at the end of the day. And I'm making out pretty happy at the end of all of that. So I charge 165 when I'm working in an environment where they are going to bring me work and I don't have to do anything else other than get the jobs done. So they handle the customers, I buy the film, and I use the space, but I'm not paying for the space. They take care of everything else. They're the face and all that, and then I just get the work done, and then I go home at the end of the day. So I really like that system, but if I want to make more per job, then I have to be doing the jobs on my own somewhere else. But then you have your own overhead that you have to deal with too, and that takes away from that whole cost. So retail, I would say 200 is really like the bottom line for around here for a decent job, as far as like you're gonna get a halfway decent film. I'm also in Michigan, so if you go down south, that price can fall depending on supply and demand. here there's Lumar shops doing jobs for like 160, and that's just to me ridiculous. So there's a lot of margin in window film, but a lot of it is the skill and also the supply and demand of it. So, when things slow down, you can charge a little bit less to try and drive up some business. And when it's super busy, you can charge a little more because you have too many cars to deal with. So that can be a little bit flexible too, but you gotta just factor in how much your costs are, how often you get jobs, what you can do. Not like in a perfect scenario when I'm getting 5 cars every day, I'm making awesome money, but that's not going to be the case for you every day. You're going to get some days where you get 5 cars, and you're going to have some days where you get a set of doors. That's just how it works. So the logistics of getting the jobs are always the most difficult thing, I think, anyways, for window film. At least that's been the case around my area always. Like everybody's fighting for jobs around here, so there still are plenty of jobs to do, but like getting the work eventually becomes the harder part, and not so much getting the jobs done. What brand? Oh yeah, what brand? Avery Dennison, really like them. And yeah, finished a contract yesterday. 100 and square feet, 116.91 square feet. Charged them $1,350. That's awesome. What would you have charged? Job took 9:30 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. That's a good question. I actually am not a flat glass guy, but what I hear is roughly $8 and up per square foot. So if we did $8, 116, where are we at? You're more than good, dude. You did awesome. So $8 a square foot would be $928. So you're well above that. I think you probably made out great off of that job. So I think, using also Suntech, it's a name brand. So you that to me should be leverage for getting more for a job too. If you want to use a better film, you have all those expenses taken into account. Eight to eight 850. I don't know. That's just kind of what I hear blanket across different people. Like if like full cars, it's just kind of where the number falls. So I think you did great on that job. Good job. Um, is MotoShield tint good? I have no idea. I have seen them on Amazon and eBay, but I have no idea if it's any good. There's like with Amazon and eBay, it's all branding. They're all going for like a really low price to try and attract people, and then it just comes down to branding. So I was really surprised with Lexan, and oh my god, I still have to do that wear test. So I'm doing the review for the film, and I've used it on some cars now. So like they sent me their better stuff, and I've used it so far, and I actually think for the money, it's a great film. Like, but I cannot speak on the longevity, and that's the only thing that freaks me out is like when you get sold an inexpensive window film, it's going to fade, change color, bubble up, fail way faster than a film that's more expensive by and large. That's really what it comes down to. You can have two films, they look great, and one's just going to wear out way faster than the other one. That's the majority of what you're paying for initially for window film. And then from there, you go into like ceramics and carbons and stuff like that, and you get a little bit more heat rejection and performance. So that's what the real high-end films are going to do for you. But the cheap the real cheap Chinese knockoff brands and stuff like that, like MotoShield, it's their own brand, but it really just comes down to like pretty pictures and whatever they want to say about the film. But you really have to try and reach out to them and ask them questions about how is their film made, where does it come from, and then if they can answer those questions for you, then you might be onto something good. But everybody can just slap a lifetime warranty color stable film on the box, but what does that lifetime warranty cover? Not everybody's lifetime warranty guarantees are the same by any means. So it is a relatively inexpensive film from what I've seen. I'd be interested to take a look, but the longevity is always my question with films like that. You don't know what you're getting. But in my last video, removing window tint, awesome way to remove window film adhesive for $1 or something like that. Um, that was actually one of those nano ceramic films sold under a better brand, not like one of the high end brands, but like a better known brand. Um, and that film, the invoice was from 2016, and it already bubbled. There was no color change in the film. Shit, we're gonna have to end soon. There was no color change in the film. Everything looked good. The sides were still fine, but the back glass bubbled. The back glass always takes the most abuse from the sun sitting overhead, and that's when the day is the hottest. So, of course, if any window is going to fail first, it's going to be the back window. And after 3 years in Michigan, it failed. So I don't know. I do know the warranty for that film in particular is really only like the cost of the film, which isn't shit. So it left all the adhesive on. We had to spray it off. We had to take the time to do that, put it back on, send it on its way, and cross our fingers. So that's what happens when you get into a film that you're not sure of. Even with the big name brands, the difference between a mid-tier brand and a high-end brand is what I would call them, is somebody like Lumar, somebody like Suntech, somebody like Avery Dennison. They're the type of brand that will back up their film claims to a certain point. So I think Avery Dennison is up to like 200 a car. Lumar will pay out more than that, but they're a more expensive film. So you have to weigh that, hey, I paid less for this film and now I'm having to redo work. Well, you get a kickback from the company for the warranty of the job, because it was their product and they're going to cover either the cost of the film or some of the labor or a set price. And then because you paid less for the film overall, maybe you can put a little bit of that money that you saved up on buying a less expensive film and put that away in like a safety bank for warranties and stuff like that. So that's kind of always the challenge with what films do I go with? What risks do I have down the road? If you fully intend on being in a spot for more than 3 to 5 years, you need to think 5 years out easily. And that can be difficult or different when you're just starting out, because 5 years can seem like a long time. A long time, but now 5 years for me, it goes by quick now. I'm quite surprised. So, BS Fat Boy, $2. Aw, thanks for the great vids. I'm subbed. Appreciate the super chat, man. I had it sitting here for a little bit. Made sure I had to read it. So really really appreciate the super chat. My problem was the shrinking of it. The shrinking of what? Oh, yeah, but just shrinking in general. I'm putting out a lot more. I did a poll in my community tab of what you guys want to see more, and the majority was hand cutting videos. So we're going to be doing that. It's easier for me to do shrinking videos, but we're going to be doing some hand cutting videos in the future. I actually think I have to do more than one hand cutting example in a video at a time, unless I ramble a lot. So it like I'll have a window cut out within like a couple of minutes. So maybe we should just do like double cutting and just do like fast examples of multiple windows. So how do you prep the back window before shrinking? So there's a couple of things out there. Really I just wipe off the back window. And most of them are generally pretty clean. Like there's just a layer of dirt on there. So wipe all that off. And then you can either use like a dryer sheet, or Patrick's got his dry shrink prep, which is really good too. So you basically just wet down like a dryer sheet or his dry shrink prep, and you smear it all over the back window and then let it dry out. Also, one other thing too, totally forgot. After I wipe off the back window, I line the whole thing with my very own product. This is Glass Aid. It's a 10 mil thick strip that I will line across the whole window, and it gives me a nice clean border that I can see, and then also it protects the glass when you're cutting on it too. So it's a 10 mil thick to protect against that, because you can put a scratch in a back window. It's really a toss-up now with modern glass. Some of them are fine, but a lot of them are leaving really, really thin hairline scratches when you cut on them, even with stainless steel blades and stuff like that. So that's why I came up with it, and because I do so many videos, you guys are going to see it all the time, so I needed to put some name on it and have it available for people that actually want to use it. So you can find that at certifiedtinter.com, by the way. Probably drop a link, but I feel like garbage. uh, Yelp is kind of a scam. Yeah, I saw that. Holy shit! Oh man, Louis Rossman. I don't know if any of you have seen his Mac repair channel. Awesome. For like all the random shit that he talks about too. So he was talking about basically being bullied to try and uh, up with Yelp more. So they will purposefully leave you shitty reviews and stuff like that. So you will pay them money for advertisement and like just to clean up your Yelp page and stuff like that, because it's just kind of becoming an irrelevant platform. If any, like Yelp was doomed for a long time because of Google Maps and the way people search things. Like a lot of people like to search in the platforms that they're already on already. So Google Maps is a perfect platform to just kind of snuff that out. Like as soon as Google did reviews on their things, like fuck off, Yelp. Like it's just yeah, it's funny. A lot of shit about that. Take a shot of tequila. I have Captain Morgan here. Maybe I'll do that. Can you stain stuff in the car with water and baby soap? I haven't ever stained anything from it yet, but by and large, cars are kind of cheap. So, like, they're meant to take a little bit of abuse. The leather on a lot of the cars is not leather. The suede is not suede. So, like, if you roll down your windows on a rainy day, I'd compare it to be pretty similar. But that being said, you should cover up panels and stuff like that when you can if you want to be careful. On a lot of domestic US cars, you don't have to worry about it. I cover up the switches, but like the panels, the soft touch panels and stuff like that, nothing really happens. Um, just also you got to keep in mind too, if you're spraying a lot of water, and you have to redo something at least twice, that's when you really want to start being concerned with how much extra water you're spraying places. So you do see me use a fair amount of water on doors and stuff like that, and I get comments all the time. But that's usually a one and done situation, and then I'm on to the next window. I'm not redoing that window 4 or 5 times. So if you have to do that, I'd suggest taking some extra steps to covering the panel a little bit better, changing the towel over the switches, like switches for sure. Because as the water's running down and pooling up into the switch, like if I see the water trailing towards a switch, like I'm putting a towel over it and then it'll protect it. Those are the main things though. Honestly, I'm not trying to tint cars anymore or go into that career. I just love watching your videos. It's so satisfying when the squeegee hits the sides across the glass. Thanks. Aw, that's cool. Thanks. I appreciate the comment. I've been told I should do an ASMR video, and then I thought it was ridiculous. And then I've actually looked into ASMR since my last live stream because there's this guy, this channel that got recommended. Excuse me. It's a leather making channel, like a leather goods, like so wallets and stuff like that. And the channel's been around for like a couple years, maybe a little bit over a year, but it got recommended off of a super popular channel, so that's why it got a boost. But some of the videos were just doing super well, and I'm like, all right, somebody's making leather goods. Like, there's a lot of tedious little work. What are they doing versus what am I doing? And like, cause it's like there's tedious work in window tinting. There's tedious work in stitching leather and sanding the edges or whatever they're doing. Um, they did ASMR videos instead. So just no talking, just good clean shots of what they were doing. No talking, no music. And to me, I clicked away in like 5 seconds. But it's like this huge category. So we may do a handful of those videos in the near future, just so you guys know. But like, I don't know. YouTube's such a game. You always got to figure out some new thing to do to help boost your stuff up. So it's always funny looking through what's popular and what's not, or learning a new category or type of video that other people are into that you didn't think was a thing. Oh, this is a good question. Hey Matt, what made you start sharing on YouTube? I wanted to be a YouTuber and I liked technology. So, in 2011, YouTube had already been around since 2007, and I thought by 2011 it was already like not peaked, but YouTube was already really big in 2011. Now you look back from 2019 to 2011, you're like, wow, YouTube wasn't anything in 2011. Well, 100,000, like there was a handful of channels that had in the millions of subscribers, and like it really was the biggest video platform around. So little did I know that it would just keep going and going to the monolith that it is now. And I still think, ooh, I hit the space bar. Hopefully nothing changed. And I still think YouTube has a long, long way to go. So it's definitely worth investing in right now. But I just like making YouTube videos. I liked everything about um, being able to take something that I do and either share it with other people or be creative with it. It's all for me. It's about being creative too, along with it. I'm not content to just do the same thing in the same way that I always do. I like to try and mix things up, whether that be video or just like with different things that come out over the years. So, uh, video was a really interesting way for me to mix. Like, I'm really big into computers and shit like that. So, it was a really good way to mix some of that technology, video editing, and creativity work in with, window tinting, which some people can see as really cool, and other people might think that it's tedious and boring, but it's really in how you present it. So that's kind of why I started. I want to be a YouTuber, but I don't want to be a vlogger. Like walk around with a camera in public is super awkward. Like it's weird enough at the shops, and I've gotten comfortable the more I do it, but like going out in public past that is just something that's still like people are going to think I'm weird, which I'm plenty weird. So I guess I shouldn't be too worried, but it's different. Like different places that you go. I don't see anybody vlogging, but then you go on YouTube and you see thousands and thousands of vloggers and like I don't know. Crazy. Oh, I have to mention the window tint conference event. Yeah, Jeff, good. Yeah. It. It's been like an hour. My voice is dying. Yeah, the window film conference is coming up September like 4th or something like that. I'm going to be competing in that, and I'm going to do whatever I can to get some videos out for that. But they don't want me to actually film during the competition. So hopefully I have somebody in the background filming, which is kind of lame. I think it should be a more public event than that, but the rules are the rules. I really don't want to get disqualified. I'd like to actually see where I place. I think that I'm going to do pretty decent, and that's not just like, oh yeah, I'm great at tinting. I think I'm going to do decent. I've competed before. I have a handful of videos on the channel. I've placed second in a competition, and I'm well past where I was from there. And I know this is like a world-class competition type of thing. There's a lot of nitpicky little rules, but I've really focused on trying to refine my technique a lot, especially at the beginning of the year. There's a handful of things that I'm doing differently that are making my jobs a little bit more consistent, a little cleaner. The top edges look just a little extra crispy. So hopefully I'll do pretty good. We'll see. SunTech is the worst when it comes to removing. I had to use two razor blades and remove SunTech carbon 55 off my mom's windshield. Yeah, a lot of American, like SunTech is owned by Lumar. It's an American dyed film. A lot of American dyed films have glue that just sheets on the glass, and it can be a big pain in the ass. Even if you use a steamer, it'll leave glue behind. But stuff like Awesome actually will help out a bunch. But on the windshield, like all that shit starts running down the panels, so like put towels and stuff there. Oh, da-da. It's my first year doing it. Does it die in winter? Yeah, kind of. It slows down a lot in the winter time. So, uh, you just got to be creative about getting jobs, work harder in the summer, use winter time more for your vacations, and like, yeah, like bank some money for the winter time because it really does slow down across the board. But that's also a reason why I came up with this whole channel. It's like it's another way to diversify. So when things are slow, now that's an opportunity for me to shoot videos with what I got. I'm always trying to maximize what I got, whether that be tinting a car, seeing how many things that I can do off of just tinting that one car. So now it's video examples, you could do teaching off of it. Um, there's other add-ons that you could do besides window tinting to that car. So really try and focus on maximizing every job that you have is a big thing. Do you know how long Helios has been around? Yeah, I was actually around during its inception. It's been around, shit, I couldn't tell you exactly because I just don't know off the top of my head, but I was there when it came up with it. It's been around for like 3 years now, I think. So it's one of those up and coming brands. I like the film. It's a good film. But it rebranded for a couple of other things. It's a close knit community, so I don't want to like call anything out right now. Do it for your fans. What for my fans? I missed a comment. Oh man, I think things are slowing down. How much do you sell the cheap Blue Maxes for? Have you been using them in your daily work? What's up, Jaybird? These are actually, they're blue, but these are not Blue Maxes by any means. These are the same as the green ones. These are ultra cheap soft squeegees. You could find these on Amazon if you want to, eBay. These are really, really cheap squeegees. I got them for the starter kits. So I bulk ordered these. They're just like just your basic soft touch squeegee. They're not as good as like a Blue Max or a or like any of the Fusion squeegees. So they will get the job done and you can tint with them, but no, I use Blue Max usually for my daily squeegees. But these are good if you're just getting into it. So some of these other things though, I do use on the daily. So these I use, I love them. Bulldozers, they're great. These are not quite as good as the actual Conquerors and Conquistadors. This white edge is a little soft. These. Oh, it's wrapped up still. Let me put that back. I'm not trying to make a sales video, but I'm just trying to be honest about what I got. Oh, it's like, oh, and I had one here. These things are similar to like the Platinum Easy Reaches. They're actually really smooth and pretty good. So I call these the cheese slice. So you can find all these on the certifiedtinter.com store if you guys are interested in picking any of these things up. Each and everything here I brought in because it's something I would actually use, or it's a variant of something I already use. And if you get like, I think I have like 20 items, and that's pretty much all you need to tint 99% of cars out there. So a lot of people have been asking me about these. These are commonly referred to as the shank. It's a palette knife. That's all this thing is. It was brought out of a palette knife kit for art, and but it was adopted into the window film industry as like it's real small to fit into your tool belt, and it pulls the panels back. So these are super helpful. Just like the newer guys that I've been tinting around are always asking about these. They're always losing them and they have to buy another one. But they really, really like those. So if you want to make tucking film easier, those things are super handy. Excuse me. I think we'll give it a couple minutes, and then I'm gonna have to wrap up, and then I'm gonna regret doing this live stream tomorrow because my voice is gonna be dead. Which would you choose, Suntech Standard Pro or Lexan Ceramic? Four-door sedan pre-cut is 90 for Suntech or 40 for Lexan. Well, that question is staring you right in the face. Like, as far as like, do you want to save the money or do you want to get a better film? That's really what it comes down to, because the Lexan is a good film, but there's a reason why Lexan is 40 and why Suntech is 90. So Lexan is just not as well known of a brand. It's a less expensive film. The longevity, like I said, I can't speak on, but Suntech has been around for a long time. and Suntech is owned by Lumar. Suntech's supposed to be a good, reputable film company. I'm not saying Lexan is not a good, reputable film company. They just don't have the name yet. They're just a small operation right now. So that's really the biggest differences between the two. Which one you would go with? Like if you want to have a little bit more peace of mind, I'd probably go with Suntech. But if you want to save some money, then go with Lexan. So it really depends on how many kits you've already installed. If you're going to be installing one for the first time, I would say probably buy 2 Lexan kits because you're going to need some spare patterns on your first try. Or at least, like, expect to have some problems with it. So those are the things to keep in mind. What's your kryptonite car/job? Ooh, like, if there's a car that I'm just gonna flat out refuse, a lot of times there'll be classic cars that I'll just outprice because I just don't want to have to do them. Um, what is it? The Cutlass Supreme, I think, the one that has that really wrapped around back window. Somebody commented, I don't know if they're watching right now, but somebody commented on a recent YouTube video asking if I could shrink that back window or if I would do it for a video. No, I don't get them ever, and that's just a car that I don't want to waste my time with because I know I'm gonna fuck it up a couple of times to even try it and get it on there. And those cars are old, and the people that own those cars don't want to pay very much money to have them tinted. So it's like it's a losing situation all the way around. It's a car that you tint so you can have some bragging rights and go and tell other tinters that, yeah, I did an old school Cutlass, and tinters are going to be like, wow, really? Awesome. And then that's it. That's all you're going to hear. You're going to get some likes on Facebook, you're going to get a couple of nice comments, and then some mad respect, and then like nothing. So I've really like, I don't know. There aren't very many cars that I like to challenge myself with. But like, VW Bug, stuff like that, like a more difficult car that I might see more often, that's a car that I'm going to need to get down because I'm going to have other ones down. I'll still charge more for a car like that and then take the time. Oh shit, I just remembered. I was messaged last week about 90s Corvette, the one where you have all the hardware on the back window that I think I talked about in the last live stream. Yeah, I got a text message about that one, and I'm pretty sure it's coming in on Friday with a full windshield. Not happy about that. That is a car I do not like to do. It takes me good half of a day to do that car, and it's not going to be a fun day. But that is a car that I know I can do, and it's just one of those like, work's going to suck today, but we'll have to get it done and move on. So yeah, there's just those cars that you look at that aren't worth your time, but then there's those like intermediate cars that like they're still a pain in the ass to do, but they make you some good money, so you should know how to do them. I saw two 10-year cry over that Cutlass Supreme stressed out. Yeah. Oh, 10-year tinners cry over that 10. Yeah, that would be me. I'd cry about it. I'd bitch about doing it the whole time. Side's not a big deal. That back window, like why? Like, and you like, it's not just how difficult the car is. It's how much film am I gonna scrap, and how many other things could I get done while I'm fucking around with this car. That's why I don't want to deal with them. It's just a pain in the ass. So, fuck, Yelp. Yeah, if there's like swearing in some of the comments, I'm noticing it's flagging them. I'm letting them slide through. I don't really care. Like this car. Just scrolling back up through some of the comments. Who likes Suntech? That's a good question. Suntech, I see Suntech kits, but I never see Lumar kits online because Lumar, they're more protective of their Lumar brand than I think Suntech is protective of theirs, but they're owned by the same company. So I say Lumar owns Suntech. Lumar's the bigger name, but Eastman Chemical Company owns both Suntech and Lumar. Don't like Suntech. There's like the basic like Suntech standard, I think. It was funny because they called standard, like if you look at the box, it was like STD. Like, really? You're gonna put STD on your box? Like STD and STD Pro? Like companies just, I don't think most of them even think about naming their films anything. Like I said it in this video, why like why did Sigma Pro from Haneda, who got bought by Avery, just go to NR? Sigma, I thought, was a halfway decent name compared to all the other films out there, but then just no. Let's take away the coolness and then make it harder. Like, oh, what film are you putting on my car? NR. What does that mean? Non-reflective? Oh, okay. Like, come on. Give it something cool. Galaxy. Yeah, Galaxy is kind of cool, like especially with the Samsung phones. We're gonna put some Samsung film. You know what would be really cool? I've thought of this. Oakley. Fucking Oakley or a sunglass company with a good brand name needs to make a window film. I mean, if Oakley came out with a window film, guarantee you, so many shops would switch to Oakley and their numbers would just go up because Oakley. Does cutting your Blue Max blades save them? I have a card sharpener and somebody does it a lot better than I do. You take it and try and run it down and like just trim off the end. But I haven't been like super successful with that every time. Sometimes I'll get it right and sometimes I don't. For the most part, I'll just replace it. I've actually got the non-cropped blocky one, so I have four sides to switch it to, rather than just the like traditional one like this, because I'll get a nick in it and then that'll be the end of the whole blade. But the non-cropped ones that are just squared off, then you have like four edges to work with, so you at least get a little bit more use out of it before having to try and sharpen it or anything like that. Ray-Ban, yep, Ray-Ban would be a great one, but I wanted Oakley, and then you could take the O and like put it down in the lower corner, and then you could get into like they could start messing around with colors and get like iridium films and stuff like that. You could have some funky front doors and shit like that. Dude, it'd be a thing. It'd be cool. I need to make a video and then send it to them. Like with, hey, you guys need to do this, or why don't you? Because I know an email wouldn't go anywhere. Probably a video won't go anywhere either, but that would be like my desperate attempt for them to do something. Or maybe I'll just do it myself, right? You just call it until you get a lawsuit in the mail, and then you get their attention. It'd probably work out better. uh, Alrighty. Have you ever used okay, I'm gonna end it on this one. ATC window film. If you're talking about Lumar ATC, yeah, that's their entry level dyed color stable film. That's a solid film from Lumar. I think all their films are pretty solid. But that is actually the film from my old videos. They used to have a film called AT, which was a 1mm film, and then they discontinued it and brought in ATC, or maybe ATC was already a thing and then they just discontinued AT. So that's when I got used to a 1.5mm thick film, and Lumar AT. It's a great film, easy to work, good color, lasts a long time. Solid company behind it, so you can't go wrong with ATC. It still leaves the glue behind. That's the only thing, but that's with a lot of films. So just charge accordingly, because they definitely charge a premium for all their films. So you need to, if you're going to be a Lumar dealer, you need to really leverage the Lumar brand. Like it's they have a presence for a reason. Well, a small one, because nobody really knows that much about window film, but of anybody, they really have a good name for themselves, and they try and keep it that way. So you really need to try and take advantage of that however you can if you're going to be a Lumar dealer, or else you might as well carry any other film. So, and with that, we're going to go ahead and end things. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me and suffering through my coughs and shit like that. Hope you guys learned something. I have a nifty little camera with a mic jack now. I need to make a video on the cameras that I have now. But it's a real small thing. Shot the last couple of videos. The focus was not great for a couple of them, and this one I left the ND filter on, and so there's a couple of things that I need to fix, like, or adjust when I'm shooting these videos. But I did shoot a paint protection film video. I did a fender on a Corvette ZR1 on Thursday. So look forward to that. I'm going to be posting that soon. Might be in the live stream, or I might just post a YouTube edit of it. But yeah, worked on the focusing for that. The video came out really nice. So hopefully we'll have that up pretty soon. But I have a little convenient setup to hopefully shoot some more videos and get this channel really cooking. So other than that, I will see you guys next week. Same time, same channel. And thanks for hanging out. Bye. Bye-bye.